so alive.
Hello again, everybody. A resounding victory by South Africa. They've taken the series by 3-0, playing some excellent cricket, exciting cricket actually, along the way. Two of the all-time greats of the South African game are alongside me, Hashim, Amla and Steyn. You're not supposed to laugh at that, boys. It's a fact.
I don't know.
Of course it is. You got all those test wickets, and come on, you're right up there.
Maybe whilst you're still playing, we can just be players, and then
okay, all right.
retire.
We'll go with players. Yeah. Two quite good players are alongside me. We'll start with Dale. I mean, what a thing to come back in the way you have.
Oh yeah, personally just very happy. Look, I'm always going to do the cliche and say the team played very well, but I mean, inside I'm extremely happy to be playing test matches again. Got the two out of the way in Sri Lanka. Didn't exactly go the way that I wanted to, but you know, the spinners dominated there. But it's great to be back home and then watching other guys like Doozle and KG's always been phenomenal. Just come through. And to maintain like high speeds throughout 3 test matches, nobody broke down. It was pretty good 3 test matches.
You admitted that there was a tear in your eye after wicket number 422.
Yeah, it feels like a decade ago.
Doesn't
actually.
It? Doesn't
it feels so long ago. And we're almost halfway through January already. But yeah, it was nice. You know, there's the man over there. I played alongside him. And that kind of lingered on for a while, that wicket. It just took forever. But very happy that it eventually happened.
Okay, you must be amazed, really, at his ability to fight back after 18 months of a pretty stressful time for him.
Yeah, Mark, honestly, it's... I don't know what to say. When it happened in Australia, was it two and a half years ago, when he hurt his shoulder? I'm sure he would have had a lot of doubts in his head. You know, we're not sure, yes, will Dale come back? And to come back after a major injury like that, and we all know Dale's always fit, but it's not just the fitness. Mentally, I'm sure it was a tough time, and he's been one of the most mentally tough guys that I know. To come back from that kind of setback and to bowl beautifully, bowling gas as well, it's always a pleasure to watch from behind. You know, I've had the pleasure now over the last couple of years to be at first slip and watch Dale do his thing. Oh, it's poetic, really, man.
And presumably an inspiration to the rest of the attack.
Absolutely. I mean, the value he adds as a bowler on the pitch is one thing, but you can only imagine Doozy, KG, and even Fern, they've drawn the experience and the hunger that Dale showed. So, you know, it's everybody, man. We just really love having Dale around. And
well, let's reverse it then and ask you about Hashim, because he's close to his best again as well.
Move on, man.
Listen, the man, you know, it's amazing. You know, he probably didn't go the way that he wanted to in the MSL. That's 2020 cricket, if we've got to be honest with ourselves. That's just how it is. But he came in here, he showed his class, he showed his experience, and batted time. I think on these wickets, anybody that batted will tell you that they never felt in. So there was one ball away from getting out. Obviously, we always one ball away from getting out, but it just felt like it could happen at any time. And Hash just showed that he probably faced the most deliveries out of any batsman that played this whole series. Coming out of probably a slightly small dip, and then to play the way that he did was remarkable.
I was going to ask you about that, actually, because there weren't pitches you ever felt in on, and yet you seem to find form again after a difficult year. You seem to get real rhythm, and by the end of this innings, I thought you were playing as freely as you have for a while.
Yeah, it's about rhythm, as you said. You know, when you find the batting rhythm, I suppose, but the bowling as well, and you find some sort of flow, it helps. The wickets have been quite challenging, but sometimes that's maybe that's what you need, you know, and you need a big part of fortune to go your way on difficult wickets. So, I said I'm just really glad, like Dale, to get on the board, you know, score some runs and contribute to the team's success. And obviously, personally, to get the runs, it's always nice.
There's so much that's sort of, if you like, shining for South African cricket right now. You know, having Hamza come into the side and look the real deal, Temba getting better and better by the game, Dwan coming into the team and just blasting people out. It's a very promising little period for the South African game.
Yeah, I think every country kind of goes through these dips and everything. You know, not so long ago we were kind of looking in the closet and thinking, who's next? And then this MSL came around and we had Anna Nokia bowling 145, Dwan taking the most wickets, and then just coming into the series in form. KG's always special. You've got Lungi coming back from a little injury. So from a fast bowler's point of view, we're very excited, you know. And then from batting, you've got Reza playing in the one-day side now. He's looking fantastic. You've got Hash coming back. It's very promising and very exciting for South African cricket right now.
And a word for Faf, who's not here, but a strong leader and a darn good player.
I mean, you know, obviously we missed Faf. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Awesome captain. He's done wonders with the bat as well. So I'm sure he'll be watching this, wishing he was here. But certainly we're thinking about it.
He's surfing. I won't
Oh,
lie.
surfing, there you go. Well, he's okay.
You'd hardly blame him for that, would you? Okay, guys, pleasure to chat to you. Well done. Fantastic series. Good to see you both on it. I think there's some petrol left in the tank, as they say.
Yeah, there's a little bit, I think, for both of us. I certainly feel good.
Definitely.
I took a 2-year break. I'm quite happy to be back. I won't lie.
Dale Steyn and Hashim Amla, thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated. We're going to go to a little wrap now of what's been a fascinating series. We're going to dot around the ground through our commentary team with their favourite moments of it, and we'll begin just there at the touchscreen with Mike Haysman and Robbie Peterson.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. We've chosen a situation in the Test series we've both liked. And Robbie, I know you want to highlight something. But before we go to that, I just want to have a little bit of chat about Dale Steyn. I mean, it doesn't matter who I talk to in the South African side. I mean, whether it's Morne Morkel, whether it's Rabada, whether it's Ngidi, all these guys, you ask them, who do they lean on? Who do they want to sit next to in the change room? Who do they learn from? And you obviously played with him as well. They all say Dale Steyn is my man. They want him to be right next to them in the bus and the change room to learn from.
No, he's a great guy, Relax. I think for me, Dale encapsulates everything about a special Test match player. He's got the skill. He's picked up wickets in all conditions around the world. He's a great guy off the field. People feed him in for knowledge. And he's had heartbreak in terms of injury, and he's bounced back from it. So to me, he's everything what Test cricket's about. A superstar in terms of skills, comes back after injury and still able to bowl at that pace at his age is unbelievable.
147 in this Test match, that's pretty tidy. And I like what he said at the end there when he said he's had 2 years break. He's fresh, he wants to keep going for a long time, so that's great news. For South Africa, not so great news for batsmen around the world, has got to be said. Right, let's get into this. You have chosen, tell me what you've chosen, you want to chat about?
I think they just touched on there, Hashim Amla touched on a little bit about Faf's leadership, and I thought what I enjoyed about this series was the way he batted at Newlands. I thought he was exceptional. I thought under tough conditions, he just came off a pair. I think you need your leader. They're a Test team that want to grow, they want to become the best in the world, and you need a strong leader. And I think you need a leader that gets runs when conditions are tough and he leads from the front. To me, that's my moment, the way he went. It was a special occasion. Newlands didn't get a Test match 100 at Newlands before, and to me that was my moment, and I just loved the way he went about it.
He said at the presentation after that, he said that after the pair that you just referred to in the previous Test match, he said some doubts started creeping in his mind, and he had to make sure that mentally he was strong enough to make sure that he could do that and celebrate another Test 100. By the way, his first 100 of all cricket at Cape Town, at Newlands.
Well, I know he's got white ball hundreds, but,
yes,
but
in the red stuff.
Absolutely. So for him to get a Test 100 is really special. And if you're going to develop a strong Test team, you need a strong leader. That's what South Africa had under Graeme Smith. He's very much in the same mold. Gets runs under pressure when it's tough, and he leads from the front. And you know, the way they spoke about him after the game, Hashim Amla, they really miss him and they love him as a leader.
In the change room. It's so important in the change room to have someone like that.
Yeah, there's always a story behind everything, and I think we only see the guys walk onto the field, execute their skill, but there's always a deeper story up in the dressing room, at training, in the hotel, at meetings. So to me, he does all the right stuff behind the scenes, and that's why you're seeing the team follow him religiously.
Okay, I've got a thread as well. I mean, Faf is in my thread for my favourite performance in this series, and it goes to the enforcer, and it's Duan Olafere. Before we play this and have a look at what he did, actually in the very first innings of the Test series at SuperSport Park, when he picked up 6 for 37 it was, Faf said, "You're the guy. You're going to bounce these guys. You're going to bowl as quick as you possibly can." Faf said, "I remember what Mitchell Johnson did. You remember what Mitchell Johnson, you played against him in that Test match."
Yeah. I do remember.
Do you remember?
I want to forget.
Yes, exactly. Good point. But he was unbelievable, Mitchell Johnson. He said he wanted this man, Duan Olafere, to do that in this Test series and start at SuperSport Park. And look at this. This is what he did. I mean, that was his first wicket. Duan at Mets, that was a little bit of good fortune initially to get that one. And then there was one, that's a rare one, pitched up. But then he started to bounce these guys and pick up sticks all over the place. This was magnificent.
Yeah, they didn't have answers to his short pitch bowling, and he stuck to his plan. You know, if it wasn't working, you'd see Duan Olafere bowl differently, but he stuck to what worked for him, and he was successful in the series. He's a great guy, learns quickly. Wasn't going to start the series, you know, might as well mention. Right. But he's the type of guy, he doesn't complain. He didn't complain that he's not playing. He just got on with the business off the field. And when his opportunity came, he got the wicket. So sometimes the game does reward you in the end.
And then he got 5 in the second dig, and of course his 24 wickets, almost got that record in the series is quite remarkable. But so Faf gave him a job. He was good enough to do the job. But let's go back a little bit further and give Ottis Gibson some credit as well. Ottis said when he arrived here, when he took over the coaching role, he said he wants fast bowlers. He wants a fast bowling mentality in this country because that's a big strength, and he certainly brought that picture.
Yeah, absolutely. And you need good fast bowlers to win test matches, especially in countries like South Africa. And South Africa is certainly developing that. I mean, we do have a long history of producing quality fast bowlers, but now all of a sudden we've seen Gidi, we heard Dale mention on Inokia bowling at almost 150 kilometers an hour. So there's quite a few, and I have the privilege of working with an under-19 team. There's a lot coming through the system too. So it's not only these what we see on TV every week. There's a few coming through at junior level too. So very exciting for South African cricket.
I'm going to give you a stat. Ottis Gibson, since he's taken over the role as the head coach, and also he's obviously involved with the bowlers as well. Rabada has taken his wickets at 16.5. All the wickets he's taken have been at 16.5 when he has taken over the role. Mark, back to you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, have a look at our split screen because more fast bowlers await us in the commentary box. Pommy's there with Mikey and Makhaya. The guys are down here with me as well. But before we go up to that commentary box, let's have a word with Ottis. Thanks for joining us. Glowing stuff from Robbie and from Mike there about Faf and about Dwan, and also about your role and the importance of fast bowling in this country.
Look, I think coming from the Caribbean, obviously you grow up on fast bowling, and then when you travel around the world, when you've seen other teams win, it's been, perhaps apart from India, it's been a lot of fast bowling, So, and then you come here and you have the quality of fast bowling that we've put out in this series, then you feel like you have to give those guys, first of all, the conditions and then the support to go and do what they've done in the series.
Everything that you've had to do in this series, just to follow on from your theme, you've done, haven't you? It's been an interesting sort of series of pragmatics. For example, not picking Keshav Maharaj to play, opening batsmen having to fight on some difficult pitches. You need a spirit behind the team for this kind of stuff. Yeah, and to be fair to the guys in the dressing room, especially the batters, they bought into a lot of what I've been saying, and test matches, test match runs have always been hard to come by, and to score test match runs has always been difficult. But we've seen in some of the pitches that we've played on, as much as people have said how difficult they were, when you've applied yourself and you got in and you took a few blows and whatever, at the end of it you still got your reward. And Faf got a brilliant 100 in Cape Town, and Quinton got a special 100 yesterday as well. So it's not like the wickets were minefields where you couldn't score runs, but you needed to work a little bit harder than normal to get your runs. And when you get those runs, what a good feeling it was for Quinny yesterday.
We spent a lot of time on the dressing room together, but you weren't the top man in the job there. And I know you went across to the West Indies, you're here now in South Africa. What do you like about being the boss, and what have you brought into that South African dressing room?
Look, it's just a philosophy of how you take a little piece of every other coach that you've worked with and people that have inspired you, but then you come and you sit down and you look at what you've got to work with as well, And when I thought about coming to South Africa, the thought of working with Dale Steyn and Vernon Philander and Monet Markle before he jumped ship, and then young Rabada and the likes of that, you think, wow, there's some special talent there. And then you've got the batters like A.B. de Villiers and Hashim Amla and Faf du Plessis, and you think there's a lot of talent. I come with a strong philosophy, guys. This is how we're going to play. I'm an advocate for 4-day Test cricket. I feel like Test cricket needs a little bit of energizing, and I think you look at Cape Town, and as much as the wicket was a little bit up and down, people that paid their money saw over 900 runs and 32 wickets in 3.5 days, and I think that's taking the game forward, and I brought that mentality to the group. Faf has taken it on, and the guys have followed suit, So, all in all, we're in the entertainment business, whether it's Test cricket or T20 cricket. A lot of T20 is entertainment, but we feel like Test cricket is supposed to be this long, drawn-out game, and why not condense it and make it more exciting?
You've been entertaining us with your socks. Talk to us about your socks.
The first test you have to wear your number 2s, so I had my number 2s on, but I forgot my socks, my normal socks. And then the first day of the first test, I wore these socks and they worked. And then I felt like I had to keep wearing them all the time. So now they become my lucky socks.
Happy socks.
Happy socks.
Yeah, but it all blends in nicely with my kit. It's colour coordination.
I like them.
Gone from number 2 to number 1. Before, just a quick one. Before the first test, you said Doozle's my man.
Yeah.
You picked Dwan Olafia, and I thought to myself, 24 wickets? What did you see?
24 wickets, yeah. Because you see, we've got Vernon, who's accurate in the length. We got Dale, high skill swinging it. We got KG, who can do both of those things, and then we got Duzel, who's different, you know, and he's gonna pitch it up and be aggressive. And I keep saying to him, every half volley he bowls, I'm gonna give him a clip around the ear, because I don't want him to bowl half volleys. I want him to, and you know, the decision to leave Kesh out is a tough decision. But you sit there and you think to yourself, who would they rather face? They would rather face Kesh trying to spin it on a spinning pitch, you know, or Duzel. Duan, the way he bowled, the aggressive intent, you know, and I listened to some of the commentary and stuff, and when you guys talk about, because you still need bravery as well, you know, and some of the balls that he's bowling there challenges that.
Okay, very good. Interesting, thank you.
No problem.
Thanks for your time, well done. It's a
Thank
very
you.
commanding,
Thank you,
Well done,
guys.
buddy.
Cheers.
a commanding victory.
Let me know where I can get a pair of socks.
Yeah, you just
Yes,
slide.
please. Look at him
You
go.
just slide.
And
You
can you
definitely
organise us
won
some of those socks?
Outfit of the Year award.
Still saying thank you.
He loves his golf too.
does.
Okay, we'll come to Ramiz on the issue of playing the quicks in a while, but let's head upstairs to 3 wise quicks.
Very quick, guys. I'll have you know. I'll hand over to you, Mikey, actually, to start off with. Age first of all, I guess. What do you have in your mind as you go back through this series, and what stuck out?
Well, nothing in particular stuck out to me during play for me and folks at home. What I was very pleased with was the fact that my favorite fast bowler was back playing test match cricket. We have heard so much about Dale Steyn already, about his skills. I don't want to be talking about his skills and all that. I'm just so happy that he's back playing test match cricket. He has had 2 years out. He has had a hard time coming back into the game, and he has come back and enjoyed being back. When you look at Dale Steyn playing test cricket, he just looks as if he wants to be there. He's 35 years old, and he could easily have said to himself, I'm not going to do all this hard work to get back into test match cricket. I'm absolutely sure there are lots of 2020 teams around the world that would be happy to have me bowling 4 overs. I don't have to be fit to bowl 4 overs. But he wanted to play test match cricket. He has nothing to prove at that level either. And he has come back and he's playing beautifully, bowling well, enjoying it, and his team is having a great time having him back. I don't want to pick any particular thing that he has done during the series, just glad to have him back.
Okay, yeah, and I think everybody who's been watching is glad to have the guy back. He's glad to be back, as he said to Mark downstairs just now. Makhaya, you're going to continue on the same theme. I'm pretty sure of that.
Of course,
your mate
yes.
there.
Oh, yes. I always shouted at him, come on, Deo! Look at that.
Even up here on commentary.
For me, it's so sweet, to listen how the other, bowlers and ex-players, how they really, really praise him, and seeing him the way he has performed. I think, the most time for me that I really enjoy watching him, where we were in Cape Town, that there was absolutely nothing that was happening. And then I was on air and says, now South Africa, they need to go back to plan B. And then as the moment we say that on air, Dale Steyn shown that, plan B. He came back, he hit that fuller length, and then he really made it work. And then straight away, as we were still talking about that, he picked up wickets. That was the moment that I went knowing the bowler as his caliber, really thinking. And then let me go back to my sense and being able to hit that good area and then see things happening. So for me, it is a star. Is a player that any country will just pick out on the bowl and say, I want this fellow to be in my team. So he has shown that at the age of 35 that it's not about the age anymore. It's about how you feel, what you believe that you can bring in within a team, and experience. We see that the young bowlers, they really have that trend of following, his footsteps and seeing, how he dealt, with the conditions. For me, that's number one.
And what's happened as well is that he's gone up that all-time list, of course, to the top of the list as far as South Africa is concerned in Test match cricket, leading wicket takers. So 422 it was at SuperSport Park, and then moved along. Here's a look at the list of leading wicket takers for South Africa. As top of the tree, he's got to 433. And when he went past Shaun Pollock. It was nice. We saw the picture earlier of him just giving him the thumbs up. He'd been waiting a long time, Shaun, actually, to say well done with that bottle of champagne. Yeah, and also fantastic that he goes past Richard Hadley. Great fast bowlers. And he said, the humility of the man, don't call me great while I'm playing. You know, just a player. How good is that? Move on to my moment. I think it's also something to do with building the team. And Hashim Amla is who I pick because of the way that he played through the series. But it started with that SuperSport Park innings. And the SuperSport Park innings particularly important because he's a man who's been out of touch. And runs were very difficult to come by on that pitch. South Africa got into a position where, well, it could have gone awry. He played this innings of 63 not out, and it sorted things out. It seemed to get him back to some sort of form. And on pitches such as these, I would say what he's shown, the grit, the determination, tough runs, is something for young guys to follow. And nice also that Hamza comes into the side and is able to watch this guy operate and play with him in a test match. So, yeah, that's my moment. I don't know what you think. You picked up your microphone, Mike, as if you're going to say something.
No, not at all. I agree with you totally as far as Hashim is concerned, that he showed a great deal of skill to play the innings that he played there. And, of course, here again at this ground, here at Wanderers, because things could have certainly gone wrong for him. But it also shows that in that innings at Centurion, sometimes you need a little bit of luck. He was dropped and he took advantage of that second chance that was given to him. Beautiful player.
Yeah, certainly. And also one of the greats, as you said, Mark. So from up here, from the fast men, back down to you.
Thanks, guys. Great job. But Ramiz, your moment of the series.
Yeah, I thought Babar Azam, because I had to pick a Pakistan highlight, and I thought that breezy knock, you know, where he hit, 10 boundaries in 3 or 4 overs of Dale Steyn. Dale Steyn, a champion bowler. And it was proper batting. It was cover driving of the highest quality. Some good pull shots. And just the way he really took him on and just sent the message across to the dugout as well. Boys, this is not an impossible task. If you're willing to survive and willing to take somebody on, you can do that. But it was superb batting and maybe coming of age of Babar Azam. I mean, it was a real special moment for me.
If you're going to conquer anybody, conquer Dale Steyn.
Sure, absolutely.
He's been the dominant force for so long. Yeah. And I think it was the ease and time with which Baba played. It was a very exciting prospect. I think he needs to go on and make some hundreds, I'd say. But,
correct.
Yeah.
Just to stamp his authority.
Only question mark about Baba, then hundreds. KP.
Well, you talk about hundreds, mine's Quinton de Kock. I think the way that he talked yesterday, as emotional as he was, and also just talking to him this morning about being on 99 and how cross he was desperate for that 100, absolutely desperate. His 4th, but the maturity that he showed, I thought was just outstanding. Graham Smith talked about it at Newlands, talked about it a little bit at Centurion, where he was saying that, yeah, maybe Quinton de Kock just needs to get going. In his press release or in his press conference yesterday, he said he's still learning. He's only played, 35, 36 test matches, and he says he's still learning. He doesn't really know how to bat with a tail. Well, you keep doing what he did there yesterday, man, he's going to entertain us for a long time.
Yes, I think he's most people's favourite player to watch, certainly in this country and possibly around the world too. Every ball he faces seems to be an event, and he turns it into something pretty spectacular more often than not. So a terrific talent for South Africa in Quinton de Kock. Over to Shaun Pollock.
Yeah, it was going to be Dale's 4-2-2 because it was a great moment for him, obviously, and going past the record, and also it meant I didn't have to carry the champagne around anymore, so that was a fantastic moment for me. But I've had to change my decision, so I'm going to go with Aiden Markram. I thought the way he played in the first 2 tests, he looked a little bit iffy on the surface. That did quite a bit. He made a technical adjustment. He came back and looked absolutely superb for the next 2 tests. Of all the batsmen on display in any of the 2 tests, he looked the most in touch with what was going on. He set the tone for South Africa every time he got to the crease after that. And on some difficult surfaces, we talked about Dean Elgar saying you need to be paid extra money to be opening the batting in South Africa. He made it look easy at times, and with some classy shots all around the wicket. So I think he's a real find for us. His slip catching was brilliant as well. I think he should go into first or second slip at some stage, not long in the near future. But for me, the way he played with a beautiful bat, I think he'd just be disappointed that 90 didn't end up being 100. But he fully deserved it, strangled down the leg side.
Yeah, well, we've got Hashim and Faf in there, but certainly he can slip into that area somewhere, can't he? Brilliant natural fielder. I think we've got that catch, actually, the Markram catch. Worth seeing it again if you didn't see it earlier. Look at that athleticism, fast eye, and actually, again, he makes it look easy. You know, it's a talent, okay.
That's what the good slippers do. They make it look remarkably easy. Just pushes himself to the left. Thanks for coming. No massive celebration. He had it covered.
Yeah. Funny enough, I'm interested in slip catching as well. I'm not astonished, that'd be unfair, but I'm certainly impressed at the way Dean Elgar has improved his close catching, but also the way that he plays under pressure. I know he hasn't had a great series in terms of the amount of runs he's scored, but I think that 50 in the second innings of that first test at Centurion, when it just could have got squeaky, Markram got out early, target was about 150, 160, you know, very, very tricky. And you're right. He made that point about you should get paid extra to open the batting in South Africa. That's his way of saying this is a darn hard job. You know, I'm finding it hard work out here, and I see him get stuck in for the cause every single time he goes out there. He gets hit, he shrugs it off, he plays important innings that don't necessarily have the glamour of others. Sometimes he makes 30s and 40s that matter as much as other people's 70s, 80s and 90s. So I think he's a very important cog in the wheel of this South African team. Just have a look at one or two of the catches that he's taken, moved into second and third slip, and there was a period where you wondered if Dino would hold on to anything, but he holds on to an awful lot now. He's worked really hard at it. He's very confident, I think, in that area, and it's another example to any young cricketer out there. You work hard at this game, you put in the hours of practice, you give it enough thought, you apply yourself, and almost certainly you will improve. And that's exactly what Dean Elgar has done with both bat and in that slip region. So, a final word, thoughts from Ottis Gibson that in the end they chose four seamers against Pakistan because they thought that's who they'd least like to bat against. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a problem for Pakistan because they've been found wanting, embarrassingly to a certain degree, because, you know, every time Oliver came on to bowl, there was a wicket round the corner, and that is not good. In sort of international circuit, you don't want to be known as a side that doesn't like the short ball, because the message spreads very quickly. So they need help. They need to come to grips with that length, especially when they go on away tours and sort themselves out.
Kevin, have you seen enough to convince people from the outside that South Africa would say, I mean, they'd be favourites against Sri Lanka here in a month's time, but say England next summer here?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. England is going to be a tougher challenge, a lot tougher challenge, because they're not scared of the short ball, and a lot of their batsmen actually play the short ball really well, especially Root. Root is a wonderful player of the short ball. Yes, there's a little bit of an opening in the opening department for them, but it's going to be a different challenge, and maybe Olivier might have to just pitch a few more up to England.
Do you think South Africa have got the guns to beat England at home?
Look, I can't call it right now. It's a long way off.
Yeah.
Injuries can happen. Olivier could go down with his back. Root might miss it with a broken finger. It is so difficult to call it right now. It's now 10, 11 months away.
Okay. Final thoughts from you, Shaun?
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with Pakistan, to be honest. They came in with big reps. I mean, Mickey was talking about how they need to try and get 350 and that they maybe have got one of the best bowling lineups in the world before the series. We didn't really see that, and it wasn't really much of a contest. South Africa dominated from the first test. So that was a little bit disappointing. I was expecting some really intense competitive cricket. But I look forward to the one-days. We know what Pakistan can do in one-day cricket. We have to put this test match series behind us. It should be some wonderful viewing there.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Most entertaining. 5 one-days to come against Pakistan, then a series against Sri Lanka that includes test matches, one-days and T20 as well. So plenty more to enjoy this summer. We've had a heck of a little journey around South Africa at Centurion, Cape Town and here. 3 test matches that only lasted, 9 days in a session because of South Africa's dominance. There's no doubt that in home conditions, South Africa are extremely hard to beat. We've got a terrific team working on this broadcast, some 80-odd people coming together to make the pictures and the words work. We thank all of them behind the scenes. We thank our commentators. We thank you at home for watching us. The news is that South Africa have won by 107 runs here and taken the series by 3-0. Bye-bye. High-octane cricket has seen the South Africans take the series 2 up with 1 to play. Glorious conditions. Oh, don't bother chasing that. There won't be any better stroke played all day.
Really good control from Markram. That's going to go for 4. Brings up 52. Just down the leg side. Was there connection with the willow? He's walked.
Out the 90s 3 times. Ouch. Ouch. Ouch again. Oh, the unpredictability of the great game. I think the drama will continue. Yeah, that's why we love cricket. That's... Oh, he hasn't, has he? He's dropped it. Another one has gone down.
There's an edge, and there's a catch.
It's a thriller minute at the Wanderers. Oh, that's brilliantly bowled.
And again, he gets to raise the ball as it goes off. Duan Olivier.
Cricket on a knife edge, a party vibe at the Wanderers. Welcome everybody to the third day's play. By a knife edge, it hung for so much of yesterday until South Africa found another gear. South Africa then in power.
Oh, that's through the gap. It'll bring up 50.
Yes! He's done it! With brilliance at the ball ring, Quinton de Kock goes to his 4th Test match 100. A joyous moment.
I think that's it. Yes, it is. Oh, what a nut. Oh, pull him. Oh, Duan Olivier. South Africa winning this Test match by 107 runs. A clean sweep of the series.
You make me feel so alive.